Well, what's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. Joined alongside Jacob in Wisconsin. I'm down here in Tennessee, here to talk Packers this evening on this Victory Monday as we break down the PFF grades. We've got an awesome show in store for you guys. We're going to hear from the national media, Stephen A. Smith, Cam Newton, on what they thought about the Packers defense. And then we will shift gears into the offensive PFF grades, the defensive PFF grades, and then, of course, the special teams grades as well. Kind of give you guys a little recap, a little filler, if you will, on who had a good game, maybe who had a not so good game, and love the fact that the Packers scored so high as a team here early in the season, something that's kind of rare here recently. But before we get into all that, let's do that YouTube stuff. Hit like, hit subscribe, make sure you click the bell icon so you're notified every time we go live. If you're new here, welcome into PTA. We're not experts, we're not insiders, we're not media members, we are fans just like you, talking Packers on the daily, breaking down film. Tomorrow, we'll be doing a chalk talk, breaking down, I think it's the 12 or 13 most important plays from that huge win over the Lions in week 1. So if you want to, jump in on one of those streams with us, make sure you've got that bell icon clicked so you're notified every time we go live throughout the season. Jacob, how you feeling on this Victory Monday, sir?
Man, I could not feel better. I forgot how awesome it is to go to work on a Victory Monday, and even if the whole freaking place is burning down around you, I'm just smiling, just walking around like Leo DiCaprio. It was great.
That's very well said, man. It is. I don't know, man. The grass cuts a little easier on Victory Monday. Everything just goes a little smooth. The weather's a little nicer. It's funny how all that works. Shout out to Joyce Martha with a super chat. Thank you so much, Joyce. Appreciate you. She says, excellent article by Tyler Dunn about the Bears in Substack. A must read for $8. If you're talking about the one, I'm not sure if it's the same one or not. If it's the one about Caleb Williams, we kind of broke it down a little bit the other night. We didn't go into great detail, but man, oh man. That's a weird situation there. And it's funny, too, because and correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, Joyce, if that's the one you're talking about or not. You might be talking about a totally different article. But the one that I was referring to about Caleb Williams, it talked about him kind of not listening to the coaches, just talking over the coaches, all that stuff. And as they were talking about Caleb Williams on Monday Night Countdown, as we're getting ready for Monday Night Football here, I noticed that the clip they showed of Caleb Williams in the preseason, you could see Ben Johnson talking on the sideline to him, and Caleb's just talking as he's talking, and he's looking away from him. I'm like, oh, boy, I don't know how this is going to go. And then, Jacob, you throw into the mix, too, the fact that they just extended Bagent, however you say his name. There might be a little bit of that in the background for Ben Johnson. Like, all right, if this dude wants to act like a fool, we'll just go to Bagent and we'll move on from him the same way the Broncos did from obviously Russell Wilson when he was acting real weird out there before he left Denver. But anyway, anything you want to add to that, what she said there? And Joyce, thank you for that super chat. Appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you, Joyce. Honestly, I think I've said it on this podcast multiple times. Tyson Bagent, to me, is their starting quarterback. He should be, at least. And there's just no way that right now the front office would ever allow that. But I think Ben Johnson is absolutely banging his head against the wall because from that article and a few other sources and rumors, it just seems like the guy – I've actually heard, like what Joyce says, that he has dyslexia, that he literally like is kind of, I hate saying slow, but he's not a very smart guy when it comes to reading coverages, learning playbooks, processing stuff. I mean, it just seems like there actually could be an issue there. And I mean, we'll find out tonight because the Vikings defense is no joke. We'll see how he reacts.
Yeah, and listen, I say that kind of tongue in cheek. I relate to that. I'm being somewhat serious too, Jacob. Like, I know my mind could not handle being a starting quarterback in the NFL. I mean that from the bottom of my heart.
Yes, it could.
Processing everything you had, I don't think I could do it. So it's, to me, I don't look at it like, haha, look how bad Caleb. I mean, it's a demanding thing. It's why when he came out in the draft, we're looking at it going, yeah, he's got elite arm talent, but something's just not right. Something doesn't click. He doesn't look at things through a team perspective. It's all about him, me. So R. Smith 30 with the super chat. Thank you. Appreciate you. Just wanted to say this, Pat, I guess maybe Pat McAfee, Pat Mac started humming the Jaws theme, speaking on our defense. Now I can't disassociate the two. Keep up the good work, guys. Thank you so much, R. Smith 30. Appreciate you for that super chat. And I heard that as well on the McAfee show. Said it was when Micah Parsons was literally bearing down on Jared Goff. It was like watching a shark hunt. in the ocean. It was really, really cool how he said it. And if I understood correctly too, Jacob, Micah Parsons was clocked at 18 miles per hour, which is the fastest he's been clocked in his entire career. So anybody who thinks, oh, he's not as good as he was, he's slow, he's got injuries, blah, 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 man, couldn't be further from the truth. So, again, thank you for that super chat. Appreciate you. William Herman in the chat says Poles knew he's dyslexic, but never told any of the coaches. The coaches last year had no idea. That's pretty much the gist of the article there, Jacob, is like they were the GM was holding that stuff back, which is wild. And if he was holding it back from the current coaches, he didn't tell Ben Johnson coming in, or else Ben Johnson might have been like, hold up a minute, do I really want to take this job? Because Poles, whether Poles wants to admit it or not, he is lockstep. He is connected, attached at the hip with Caleb Williams. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, definitely. I never going to root against a person necessarily, but it's just so glorious that if the Bears fumble another, not just a first round draft pick, a first overall that was supposed to be the generational end all be all of quarterbacks. I mean, this guy, if they fumble this again while having a guy like Tyson Bagent on the bench, where it seems like he's more of like a leader, the locker room guy. People love him. They want to play for him. Whereas Caleb, I mean, he's the kind of guy that paints his nails and jumps into the stands and cries in his mama's arms. Like that is what we're seeing here. So we'll see tonight again. I could be proven wrong. I'll gladly come here and admit that I was wrong. I will.
We may look up in 5 years and go, damn, Caleb Williams is the next Patrick Mahomes. You know, I personally don't see it right now, but that doesn't mean it can't come to fruition. Now I'll say this, Jacob, they passed up on Pat Mahomes, right? When they took, who was it they took?
Was it Trubisky?
Trubisky, that's right. So they passed up on Patrick Mahomes to take Trubisky, and then they turned around and passed up on Jaden Daniels to take Caleb Williams. If Caleb Williams doesn't work out, boy, and you can't blame the GMs. Like there's something organizationally that's just not. You don't have enough football people in the organization, if that makes sense. That's just my opinion. What the heck do I know? So, all right, let's get into the first topic of the night, guys. I like getting kind of testing the pulse or checking the pulse, I should say, of the national media. And on First Take earlier today, they were breaking down and talking about this Packers defense. Okay, you're going to hear a little bit of Stephen A. Smith. You're going to hear a little bit of Cam Newton. We'll throw Cam Newton up here right now. I think he leads this thing off. And let's see what the national media is saying about this Packers defense. Here we go.
They have the Commanders next week, and that's going to be a phenomenal game, seeing the Packers and Commanders. Cam?
Yeah, I mean, that team that we saw yesterday in Green Bay was definitely a contender in the NFC. And I know I was on record last week of saying that they're not better than the Detroit Lions. Well, what better way to show that they're not better or they are better? Just go out there and whoop them. They dominated the game from start to finish. And I think what Michael Parsons brings to the table is a sense of urgency, a sense of aura, a sense of like swagger that this defense already had with Rashawn Gary and those guys. But it felt a little different. It looked a little different. Those guys was explosive. They was extremely stingy. And when you're able to capsulate a good offense, what makes a great offense look very docile or very regular or vanilla, that's something in its own right. And the energy that I even seen through the TV screen was something different that we haven't really seen ever or in my lifetime in Green Bay.
A very prolific offense last year over the last 2 years.
All right, so what he said there, Jacob, I think is very fitting. You know, like he hasn't seen this in Green Bay. We kind of talked about it too, right? And again, I know people see Cam Newton today with the funny hats and this and that, and they think, you know, all right, who is this guy? That's a former MVP. Like that dude, he reached I don't want to say he reached the top of the mountain because he never won a Super Bowl. He made it to the Super Bowl, but he got right to the summit. He just, you know what I mean, just couldn't get over the top, if you will. So the fact that he's talking about that, and again, coming out and acknowledging he thought Detroit was going to take care of business, Jacob, and Green Bay came out to play, man.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, Cam Newton's kind of a unique individual now, but let's not forget he was one of the best quarterbacks. He had one of those best stints, you know what I mean? Like it wasn't quite as long as like a Vic or anything, or I kind of think of him and Donovan McNabb similar, just being those really big bodied guys that could absolutely take over games. So he knows what he's talking about. I put a lot of stock in that. And honestly, the fact that I think that all of a sudden the Jordan Love MVP talk is starting to get talked about more on the national media scene, like all of a sudden it's like when one says it, they all start saying it kind of thing. And I was watching tons of clips trying to get some information for you guys today. And that seemed to be a very popular topic, was talking about Jordan Love and MVP in the same breath. So
yeah. J. Cole says Cam Newton was a bad MF. He was. And someone else said it right here, 2-0 for this, says Cam basically told Clay Matthews he was going to score. And by golly, he did. I'll never forget that.
dude,
Go to the line, and you can hear Clay in the microphone on the field said, "It's that wheel route. It's that wheel route." And Cam stopped what he was doing, his cadence. He looked at him and said, "Oh, you've been watching film, huh?
watch this.
Oh, watch this." That was a touchdown to the wheel. Absolutely awesome. So sucked at the time, don't get me wrong, but yeah, he was a heck of a player. All right, let's see what Stephen A. Smith had to say about this.
Because Peter and Cam know this. All right, Jared Goff yesterday, 3 for 7 with 1 touchdown, 1 interception in the red zone. Last season in the red zone, Jared Goff completed 66% of his passes, 23 touchdowns, and not a single interception. We've gone from that to seeing what we saw from Detroit yesterday. Nobody expected that kind of precipitous drop-off.
100%. Peter,
So there you go. Obviously, everybody over at ESPN talking about, is this the end of the Lions' run? Boy, Jacob, isn't it funny, man? We say the end of the run. They really never did anything. You know, I mean, they didn't even make it to did they make it to an NFC championship? They did not, did they?
I don't believe so.
Yeah. So, I mean, and again, there's a lot of season left. Everybody has reached out to me today. All my friends have been like, man, the Packers look awesome. I'm like, guys, it's 1 week. Let's chill. It looked great. I'm excited too. But everybody's talking like, all right, yep, this is your Super Bowl favorite, man. It's a lot of season left. And I know I trust Coach Matt LaFleur and Jeff Hafley to keep everybody focused and not read too much into their own press clipping. Some other stuff around today. This was probably my favorite, Jake. So, you know, Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, do you know what their nicknames are? The running backs for the Lions?
Isn't it Sonic stupid crap? Knuckles and –
yeah, they call them Sonic and Knuckles. All right.
Dang.
This tweet went viral. And 3 Lone Wolf said, we found the NFL tweet of the century, and it's only week 1. He said, Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery are supposed to be Sonic and Knuckles, but they're more like ass and cheeks. Man, how about that? Stopping that running game like that. And it hurt me so bad putting Chalk Talk together just now for tomorrow. I didn't include any run stops because there were so many sacks. There was an interception. There was I had 13, 14 plays. So we could go back and do a whole Chalk Talk segment on just the run stops with Gary and LVN and the boys, Kobe Wooden. But what do you think about that, man? Them stopping that running game as much as they did.
That was, yesterday in the heat of the moment. Afterwards, I'm just absolutely on cloud 9. It wasn't until this afternoon when I went back, rewatched the game, looked at the box score, and I was like, what? Jahmyr Gibbs was held to 19 yards rushing on I think total was under 60 yards, right? I mean, we absolutely dominated, and it was almost an historic type domination. I have a couple stats just real quick because it's
hey, man.
It was from the PFF podcast, so I can't remember their names, but whatever the guys that do the new PFF podcast, the yards before contact for the Detroit Lions, do you know what it averaged out to be?
What?
First initial contact was first done at -5 yards.
Jesus.
Unbelievable. The EPA was a -0.106 of a single game EPA per play. That was the fifth lowest game that the Lions have had since they started recording that metric.
You do that, you're going to get your ass kicked in that.
4 explosive plays. That's it on run game and pass game. It was an absolute bloodbath. And again, that was with Parsons playing only 45% of the snaps and obviously not 100% healthy. Imagine what the possibilities of this defense could be. I mean, like you talked about, what did they have? They had the guards, the 2 new guards that they were talking about, the Lions, that everybody was kind of iffy on. Well, they allowed 7 pressures, 3 sacks alone, just with those 2 guards. If you're a Lions fan right now, you've got to be scratching your head and thinking, oh no, this is not good. This is really not good.
Yeah. And another thing too, if you notice all the people that were hating on Rashawn Gary, LVM, Brenton Cox Jr., everybody last year, they immediately shifted everything today on Sports Talk that this is what happens when you got Micah Parsons. See what happens when you got Micah Parsons? Here's fun stat. And you guys correct me if I'm wrong. I watched every snap of the game the second time through. I haven't got to the 3rd rep yet. But Gary's sack and then the combo sack for LVN and Gary, Micah Parsons wasn't even on the field. So think about it. You guys go back and watch it again, double check it. But I was looking around going, is he playing Joker somewhere? Is he dropping into cover? Where's he at? Wasn't even on the field. So again, Micah Parsons, huge. It's huge he's on the team. You've seen the attention he got when he was out there, but he wasn't even on the field, and our guys were kicking ass. So again, we heard coming out of camp before we traded for Parsons, right? Yeah, there you go, J. Cole. Gary says he said Gary got those sacks without Micah. So remember coming out of training camp, Jacob, everybody was talking about LVN, right? So again, man, I think it's important to talk about how they played with Micah on the sideline. Now, with Micah going on the field, you've seen the double team, the block. I don't know if you've seen that picture of the block where they literally two offensive linemen had their hand underneath his chin. No flag, of course, right?
No flag.
Yeah, funny how that works.
Like Jen Wright says, Rashawn, LVN, and Gary were scary. Like you just, to your point, Clayton, LVN, 4 pressures, and if you want to call it a sack, a 0.5 sack. PFF grades them a little different. Gary, 5 pressures and a sack. Wyatt, 4 pressures and a sack. A lot of that, like you said, wasn't when Parsons was on the field. I mean, those guys, you could argue for sure that when they're all on the field together, that it's like pick your poison. Who are you going to try to stop? But the fact that those guys played really, really well. Like I'm really impressed with our defense. Everybody from guys like Javon Bullard, who I needed to step up, when I thought he played a hell of a game. Evan Williams, what more can you ask of that guy? I mean, he is flashing around to the point where I think we may have one of the best safety rooms in the whole NFL, if not the best. It's crazy.
Yeah. Definitely. Let's relive. Let's take a second here, okay? And let's relive Micah Parsons' first sack as a Green Bay Packer. We're going to do a little bit different, though, Jacob. Let's hear it from Wayne Larrivee and Larry McCarron.
Oh, hell yeah.
You ready? Let's do it. Here we go. Get it on the screen for you boys and girls. This is unbelievable, man. I'm telling you, it sent chills up me. Here we go. Wayne Larrivee and Larry McCarron on the Green Bay Packers radio network with Micah Parsons' first sack.
Raymond got a hand on it, but that was it. 2nd and 10, Detroit. Detroit 35. Goff takes the shotgun snap, rolls right out of the pocket, chased from behind by Parsons.
Yes!
And sack! Micah Parsons registers the sack back at the 31-yard line. And the Parsons project is underway in Green Bay.
And Parsons just outworked Christian Mahogany, the left guard, ended up on him and just outworked him. Parsons has got that ingredient that all the great ones, the great pass rushers have, relentlessness. He never stops.
Love it, man. That place went nuts, Jacob. They said that's the loudest. Everybody. This was Jason Wilde talking about. This was the players, the coaches. That's the loudest they have heard Lambeau in a long time when they introduced him and then when he got that sack, of course.
Yeah, I mean, that gave me goosebumps just now. That, like you said, I actually heard that from multiple people too, talking about how the roar that came over the crowd was unlike anything that they've ever seen, which obviously, if you know the history of and the greatness that we've had at Lambeau Field, that is saying something. Absolutely. Just how cool is it, man? In my wildest dreams last night, I didn't expect a game that was even near as perfect as what we watched. You know what I mean? Like, I had to keep telling myself that'll never happen. You got to be realistic. Parsons won't come in and actually get a sack. And Devontae Wyatt, LVN, Gary, those guys won't all get at least a sack or a half sack. Cooper won't be flying around. Quay Walker looked amazing. Like, I was really impressed with Quay Walker, guys. And Evan Williams won't get a pay. I mean, everything looked perfect. It just was awesome. Savion Williams just randomly returning kicks. I was like, okay.
The only thing that would have made it better for me is if Quay would have hauled in that interception.
Yeah.
I want it for him so bad, man, because he's so close to making big plays. He really is. William Herman, sorry we overlooked this, buddy, with the super chat. He said there's so much dirt in the Ty Dunn article. It's the most scathing expose of a sports team, a pro sports team that I've ever seen. 3-part series. It's so bad. We need it in audio form, don't we, William? So we can just listen to it on loop. That's what we need, man.
Listen to it while I go to sleep.
Thank you so much for the super chat, buddy. We appreciate you. All right, Jacob, let's jump into the let's start with the defense. Does that sound good to you, man, since they were kind of the highlight of the day? Not taking anything away from the offense, but it does kind of feel like the defense kind of controlled that game. You know what I'm saying? So let's go with the PFF grades on the defensive side of the ball. Let's start there. At the top of the list, this makes me so happy, man. Evan Williams, 56 snaps, PFF grade 90.5 with a coverage grade of 86.8. Jacob, remember when we did the Chalk Talk when they drafted Evan Williams 2 years ago? And we were like, man, you can see he's all over the run, and he was spying Caleb Williams in that game against USC that we watched. We broke down the tape.
Yes,
he was a good tackler. He was good run fit. He was good on the spine, the zone read, attacking the mesh point, being patient when you're setting the edge, all those things. The fact that his coverage has come around like this, 86.8 coverage grade, man. What do you think about Evan Williams?
I mean, Jen Wright says that Evan equals amazing. I am so happy with his. I mean, honestly, his rookie season was already surpassed what I expected for a guy of his caliber. Like we talked about when we looked at him in the draft, he had some, I wouldn't say red flags, but just maybe some stuff that was like, I don't know if that game's going to transfer over into the NFL. Like you said, we knew he could stuff the run. We knew he was a great blitzer. We knew he could kind of be great in pursuit. But the amount of development he's done in his coverage game is, I think, it's just unbelievable. I mean, a 90.5, he earned that grade. It wasn't like on, what does that say, 56 snaps? I mean,
yeah,
to have him with McKinney, I can't get over the fact that Xavier McKinney has got to be kind of helping these guys along with just their production, the way that they're playing, their development, giving them small hints here and there that just absolutely are kind of catalyzing the speed at which this dude is progressing. And like I said, it seems him and Golden are two guys where it seems like since they got in the league, they're just cool, calm, collective. Nothing's too big for them. They don't get, nervous. They don't get overreactive. Even when the good things happen, it seems like Evan Williams he talks like he's like a 5 to 7 year pro. You know what I mean? It just really does seem like the game's not too fast for him.
I'm glad you brought that up because when you hear him talk, those are the type of guys that the Packers are looking for. He just crushed the interview process, right? There's no doubt in my mind that that's one of the things that set him apart for sure. Let's hit a couple of these. Well, let's hit a couple of these chats while you got them marked here. Holmes MD1 said Quay had a great game. Anyone think Quay is not getting extended or reworked is mistake, or is mistaken, or if he's saying it is a mistake. Here's the problem with Quay. You just gave Micah Parsons that contract, right? When you're modeling your roster, if we put yourself in the GM shoes for a second, when you're modeling your roster, you can't pay 2 stack backers top linebacker money, right? Now, is Quay demanding top 3 linebacker money? His agent's probably asking for it, but realistically, what would you be willing to give him? I would love to have Quay back on a contract extension for the right price, but Adrian Cooper is the future of this team at linebacker. Right. It's not even close. And it's not the dog Quay. And again, I didn't think Quay had as good a game as most people did yesterday. However, I also didn't look up and go, oh man, he was a weak spot. You know what I mean? Like in the past, we've kind of seen him being a little bit hesitant. To me, he looked like he was a lot more aggressive yesterday, but there's just no money there for Quay. If you can get him for $5 million per or $8 million per, absolutely. I just don't think he's going to accept that. I think he's going to want to test the market, right? And I say that because you got Adrian Cooper and Tyron Hopper. That's the future at linebacker for you right now, right? And possibly Colin Oliver, although I think they see him more as a hybrid defensive end than a true stack backer. But those are the 2 backers. I think they're modeling their roster to be the linebackers of the future. Personally, that's. Again, the fact that they didn't pick up Quay's 5th-year option, I think that says everything. It says everything about how they see him. It's not that they don't like him as a player; they don't like him enough to pay him top stack backer money. Let's move along here. Devontae Wyatt on 49 snaps. Jacob, this is what you wanted to see, man. 78.7 with a 72.7 pass rush grade. Remember when he was a liability in the run game? Well, run defense, 69.4, tackle grade, 69.6. He seems to be cleaning it up, man. There is your 3-tech. Now, we just got through talking about Quay, right? We did hit Devontae Wyatt with the 5th-year option. Now, again, not to pile on, look where Quay's at down here. 57.8 PFF grade. Look at Devontae Wyatt, 78.7. Once again, I don't think PFF is everything. However, more times than not, you look up and go, well, PFF's grades are lining up with where teams are spending money. It's very rare that you get a player that's grading out in the 50s and they get a huge contract. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. And like you said, I mean, that run defense grade 69.4, that's better than any other player on the sheet that I can see right now. So he literally went from being one of our biggest liabilities to being the best run defense grade that we have, at least for week 1. So like you said, man, the progression, I think that we've talked about it for years now. It's crazy. We've had this podcast for years. And if we were to have these guys take steps, guys like Wooden, guys like Brooks, guys like Wyatt, some guys, maybe a lot of Packer fans have almost, I don't want to say written off completely, but just kind of think that they know what their ceiling is. well, here we are. We're kicking the door open, and all of a sudden it seems like these guys are kind of pushing all their ceilings up 5 to 10, 15 points. You know what I mean? So it's just kind of crazy to think that if this is the right time, that window of the Super Bowl window is open, this could be the exact right kind of perfect storm to have us kind of catapult through into the rest of the season. Again, it's week 1. I got to take a step back and chill, but it's something. Tell me if I'm wrong in the chat, guys. Something feels different.
Yeah.
It really does. Ever since Ryan did that kind of podcast, when he just, Ryan's not a very feely, emotional guy, but even he was like, there's something going on. There's something. It's just, you can't really, it's not tangible, but you can feel it. I really do think that that's true.
It feels like there's a 3-year window opens, what it feels like, man. Nice little breeze blowing through, you know what I mean? H.E. Solder says, any worries about the volume of Wyatt, Wooden, and Brooks snap counts? It's a long season. I'm not worried about it right now, Solder. Now's the time to test that, right, early in the season. As wear and tear starts to take shape or take effect on these players and the season goes along, that's where you want to get into, all right, let's try to manage the reps. But you got the reigning NFC North defending champion there in Lambeau, week 1, turn them loose. You know what I mean? And then let's reset. Let's kind of recalibrate because we got another tough game coming up this Thursday with Jacob. Many people were saying Packers going to start 0-2. Packers going to start 0-2. If they start 1-1, hey, that's a nice little split of those first 2 games. If they go out and beat the Commanders on Thursday, look out, bro. Look out. This might be a special year like you're talking about. And I'm hearing a lot of people say this kind of feels like the 96 Packers is what I was hearing today, which is really, really exciting. I love my 2010, 2011 Packers, but 96, man, that was a fun team to go back and learn about and watch, the old replays and everything for sure. So next on the list, Edgerrin Cooper, 67 snaps, 77.6. He had a 72 coverage grade, a 73.6 pass rush grade, tackle grade of 57, run defense grade of 68. Edgerrin Cooper was just all over the freaking field. Love the way that dude plays the game, man. Obviously, the 2 stack backers, they both played 67 snaps. As Quay Walker had a 57.8, Edgerrin Cooper a 77.6. Another example here of, I think Edgerrin Cooper is your stack backer. That's the guy you want to build the defense around in terms of the linebacker room. That makes sense. So next you got Carrington Valentine, all 67 snaps. He played 72.6, 75.8. Jacob, we talked about it all offseason, man. Carrington Valentine was so freaking underrated coming into this game or coming into this season. And we talked about how he was better than Jair Alexander last year, not by PFF grade standards, but statistically, when you're talking about passer rating when targeted, all those important metrics.
Yeah, I was very impressed with Valentine yesterday. Talk about another guy that's maybe taken a step, raised his ceiling. And I was proud of him more because he seemed like when it was kind of an emotional, chippy game, he seemed like he had some cool and collective type stuff. He wasn't letting him say, because he's an emotional guy. He likes to talk smack. I saw him definitely chewing some ear for a few different plays kind of thing, but it just, again, it seemed like that the moment wasn't too big for him. Every time that I saw him, I feel like that, he did his job very, very well. Obviously PFF agreed here. Just another guy that, like you said, very underrated, still a very young guy, if I'm not mistaken. And just think about that he's another guy that fits perfectly in that Super Bowl window, man. Because if we can have at least one of those border corners, what did you think about Keyshawn Nixon? I mean, obviously he's going to be up there close, but I don't remember seeing anything where I was like, oh, he blew a play or anything like that. Just
right. It's one of those things at cornerback that outside of interceptions, you don't want to hear their name. You know what I mean? And they had a pretty good night. So, yeah, I thought Keyshawn played pretty good based off what I seen. Now, I wasn't keyed in on him as much as I was the mugging, the defense, the line of scrimmage, that type of stuff on defense. I wanted to see how Hafley was utilizing these guys together and who was on the field when sacks were actually taking place and all that. But Coach Lynn says, can we talk about Jai getting cooked last night? Coach, you know me, and I know you're the same way, man. I don't want to pile onto a player just because they're no longer playing for the Packers. But this doesn't surprise me because this happened last year. Like, he gave up 2 touchdowns last year. And anytime, he was one that was screaming he wanted to follow the number 1. Well, he followed was it A.J. Brown? Is that his name? What's his name for the Philadelphia Eagles? Is it A.J. Brown? Yeah. Followed him in week 1. He got absolutely cooked, right? That's That's what I've seen from Ja in man coverage. Now, when you're playing zone and he freelanced and wouldn't even cover his zone, he got a couple picks that way, but I guarantee you got a -2 when they graded him out on Monday morning. So it didn't really surprise me that he struggled. And not that I'm rooting against him. That's not the case at all. I was actually pulling for the Ravens last night. Yeah, he seems to be done, man. He's on his last legs, that's for sure. And again, I know people, it wasn't a popular opinion last year when I was saying Carrington Valentine is playing better than Jair Alexander, but it's showing back up again, man. Him in Baltimore, surrounded by Kyle Hamilton and Patrick Queen and a really, really good deep. I think they got Mike Green too. Remember we talked about that edge rusher? They ended up drafting him. So just another example there. Mike Hebring with the super chat. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate you. He says, what did Javon Bullard ever do to Chris Collinsworth? I guess he's talking about the grade here. Let's see. 44.7 for Javon Bullard. Again, I didn't know didn't he get beat deep though? I remember there was one play that he got beat deep.
Amon-Ra got him a couple times, but
yeah. And that's a tough task too, man, to cover Amon-Ra St. Brown. And I felt like, generally speaking, like just globally looking at the game and how it turned out, I thought, hey, what else could you ask for from Javon Bullard? However, he did get beat deep. So his coverage grade was a 47.4. You had a tackle grade of 52.5, a run defense grade of 45.1. And I'm not sure if he had any penalties or not there, but we don't have it pulled up right now. But yeah, I don't, if what you're insinuating, Mike, is PFF doesn't like Javon Bullard, they're picking on him. I don't agree with that. Listen, Bullard, Jacob, you were the president of the Javon Bullard fan club, right? Like we always joked about that. And you turned us on to him, and lo and behold, we drafted him, and we all got excited about it. Do you think he's lived up to the expectations of a second-round pick yet?
Not yet, no. But like Coach said, he showed up in the run game. I personally watched him last night and thought, this is the kind of guy that I wanted to draft. Like he seemed aggressive, seemed like that he was just not going to be pushed around. And that's just more, I'm more willing to give a cornerback a little more leeway if they're just playing physical, because I'm just so sick of, there was a couple, like maybe one or two plays that I saw where I think it was Keyshawn Nixon, where the running back broke out around the right side, and he did that thing where he stopped and waited for the running back to come get him. I don't see Bullard doing that. I see him always taking an angle, throwing his head down, throwing his body at the guy, a human meat missile, if you will. And that to me, like I said, I'll give a cornerback a lot of leeway if he's willing to actually throw his head in there. And I've seen improvement from him. I definitely have seen improvement from Bullard. Is he perfect? No. Is he where I want him to be right now for a second rounder? No. But
that's where I'm at. Yeah. I'm not ready to write him off either. It's just, to this point, if somebody said, all right, was it worth the second or not? I can't say yes. I'm sorry. I just can't at this point, but it's still early. So it shows him as a slot corner, but I did hear multiple times, and you can see it on the tape, that when they went to their base defense, they brung Evan Williams off the field, I believe, and left Javon Bullard on there, if I remember correctly. So that's how you end up with 59 snaps for Bullard and only 56 for Evan Williams. So the few times they were in their base defense, they actually pulled Evan and put Bullard. I don't like that. I personally would rather Bullard keep Evan Williams' ass on the field every snap that unless he needs a breather, keep him on the field and let Javon Bullard be your slot defender. That'll keep Bullard healthy, and that gives you more opportunities, I think, with Evan Williams, who obviously balled out yesterday. You had another comment here. Greg Rice says, it's really cool that Micah has such high hopes for LVN. I caught on to that too, Greg. And here's a little – and listen, I don't have any inside sources. I'm just kind of putting two and two together. It sounded like Lucas Van Ness was not available for the media since they traded for Micah Parsons. And you can say, oh, well, we're reading too much into that. Maybe that's the case, right? But it could also be he was upset about that. Like, man, I'm finally getting my chance now that Preston's gone, and he's shown. Again, I'm not surprised that he had success yesterday. And he had a 68.7 PFF grade, tackle grade of 73.9. Actually, had a coverage grade of 72 too when they played him at Joker and dropped him back when he was mugging the B gap. That made chalk talk. Really, really cool play on third down there. But when you kind of look at how he was poised to step into this role. Now you trade for Mike, and it's like, damn, now I'm right back behind Gary. I'm right back behind Mike. He's not getting those opportunities. I can understand why he would be upset. And again, no one has said he was upset. He just wasn't available for the media after Micah was traded for. And what did Micah do? He came in and immediately started building LVN up. I personally think, this is me, and you guys know I love Rashawn Gary, and Rashawn Gary balled out. Rashawn Gary played better than Micah Parsons yesterday. I don't care what anybody says. The dude was, what do you have, 8 tackles? 8 tackles at defensive line is insane. Like, his run stop percentage is already on pace to surpass where he was last year. And then you ended up with a sack and a half as well. Again, that 1.5 sacks with Micah Parsons not even on the field, right? Which is really exciting to think about when they put them out there more consistently together. So, but if you get past this year, you look up at the end of this year and you feel like LVN played on the level of Gary, there's a decision to be made on Gary next year. Because again, just like we're modeling the roster, talking about what's going to happen with Quay Walker at middle linebacker, and they probably won't re-sign him. You got a decision to make with Gary, and that's going to determine how aggressive you are with him, trying to get his cap number down next year, try to get him to take a pay cut, just like you did Preston Smith. So I don't know if you got anything to add to that, but I just seen the comment and figured we'd mention LVN there.
No, I mean, it makes sense. Like you said, I didn't know that he has not made himself available for media. Still
Since the trade is what
since the trade.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. I go back and forth on that because I like the progression that LVN has made, especially it seems like he's done a lot this off season, but I don't think he's earned the right to be that upset. Like, for a while there, it was very hit and miss with him. And if he's going to be, I'd rather him be a team guy. So I hope it's nothing. Maybe like you said, hopefully I'm overreacting and everything like that. But I will say it's like you said, of Micah to come in and understand the situation. The guy is very smart. I'll tell you that. I know that for sure. You can tell that he knows how to read a room. And like you said, when you're a leader and you come in, the first thing you want to do is build up guys that maybe, quote unquote, I don't want to say you're inferior or anything like that, but let's be honest. I mean, like the depth chart, Micah Parsons is going to be the alpha dog, right? So he knows that maybe he's got to put his take LVN under his wing and kind of just show him the ropes. If that's the case, then LVN should be thanking his lucky stars that he has a mentor that is of the caliber that Micah Parsons is. So, if LVN feels a certain type of way, get over it, get ready to get trained by one of the best, if not the best in the modern era to ever do it. And then let's make the most of your snaps on the field.
Yeah. And again, very, very unselfish for an edge rusher, a pass rusher specialist, to be asked to, hey, get out there and play Joker and drop into a hook curl in the middle of the field. And he did it and did it well. And if it hadn't been for him, who knows, they might have picked up that first down because he made a great tackle on the sideline while playing that. He looked good in space. Reminded me of Levon Kirkland back in the day for the Pittsburgh Steelers when I used to root with them with my brother. United Base says Micah's post-game presser was great. He included everyone. A lot of we talk. Yes. You could just tell he's very, very thankful that he's in Green Bay. Let's round out the rest of these PFF grades, Jacob. Keyshawn Nixon, pretty darn good day, 66.9. Rashawn Gary finished with a 66.2. Once again, the tackle grade, 75.4. Run defense grade of 69.1. Had a pass rush grade of 59.2, which is hilarious. PFF said, I know you led the team in sacks, but your pass rush was not good. I would never understand it. I wish they would show us why he graded out so bad there. Micah Parsons right behind Gary with a 66.0. He had a pass rush grade of 73.9, tackle grade of 69.2, and a run defense grade of 59.9, which is kind of on par for his career. We talk about him kind of grading out in the 60s in terms of run defense, so he's right on the cusp of that. Kobe Wooden with 35 snaps, 64.0 PFF grade, had a pass rush grade of 62.6, tackle grade of 38.9, and a run defense grade of 60.9. Tyron Hopper only played 1 snap. Jacob,
that's crazy.
Did he get hurt or something? Is there something I missed there?
I don't think so. I think it's just McDuffie, but maybe McDuffie didn't play that many. Only 18 for McDuffie. I mean, but you look at Quay 67, and then Edge with 67. So I mean, that's what's going on there. Yeah, man, that's crazy. I just thought that, like you said, Tyron would at least get a few more snaps there, but you know, that's another thing that it's a double-edged sword and everything. I couldn't help but look for my boy Brenton Cox Jr. and he only had 8 snaps, which to me. Even compared to Kingsley's 21, like that was very shocking to me. And it's again the double-edged sword of you've got 3 top-tier edges with Parsons, Gary, and LVN. You add in a guy like Kingsley, you add in a guy like Sorrell that you spent draft capital on. All of a sudden, Cox is kind of getting lost in the mix there, and I don't quite like that. I want to see more of Brenton.
No, I understand that completely, man. I do. So Again,
Respect Order says Cox got injured. I'm not. Is that true? I hope not. Oh boy.
I think I do remember hearing somebody call that out on Twitter. Yeah, I think he might have left with an injury. Jay, there was somebody else that got injured too. I'm trying to think other than Zach Tom, which I don't think we have an update there. If anybody has an update on Zach Tom, throw it in the comments. So again, there's your PFF defensive grade. McKinney had a rough day, 54.7. However, his tackle grade was an 83.1. Keep in mind he had the personal foul penalty, and you also had who was it? Another one, Javon Bullard had a penalty as well, if I remember correct. Everybody's saying it's a groin.
Sounds like Cox had a groin injury.
Surprise, surprise. All right, there is your defensive PFF grades. Let's now shift gears over to offense. And Jacob, it makes me happy to know in first place is Jordan Love with a 76.3 and a 75.9 passing grade there. And again, you look at the stat line, right? And you go, man, he didn't have a big game. We have 188 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. This is what we talked about. If you can do that within these divisional games, not try to do too much and just protect the football and take what the defense gives you and play. He made a couple bad decisions. There was one RPO where they had a bubble set up, a bubble screen, and he chose to hand it off. However, I want to say this. You could see the bubble was there. They had the hat count. Should have threw the bubble. But on a 3rd and short, if he decides to throw that rather than hand it off and it falls incomplete, somebody drops a pass, I'm in here today going, run the damn football. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, I mean, the only 2 that I can remember is when he overthrew a wide open Tucker Kraft, who was running out the left sideline. Just put a little too much air underneath the ball. Otherwise, Tucker probably would have had another touchdown. And then there was like a third. I want to say, it was a 3rd and goal, or it was in the red zone where he forced the ball over to, I think it was Romeo on the left side again, and he had Tucker running wide open. It was like a 3rd and 5 or something. Tucker was wide open, kind of doing just a little slant route. But other than that, I mean, I really, really liked what I saw out of Jordan, and just really nice to see him actually taking some hits, falling on the ground with that left hand, is that kind of, putting that left hand out to kind of put all his weight on it, and he didn't seem like it affected him whatsoever. So it's nice to see him get in there, take a few licks, get back up, throw the ball like really pretty. Some of those balls were, that one to Reed, what a beautiful, we always talked about how we want him to kind of lead guys more, not have to have him break stride or whatever. That was just chef's kiss. Like, I watched it and I was like, oh, it's so pretty.
Definitely, man. So Jordan Love, a good day there, 76.3. Again, guys, he's looking like, not quite to the level he was on the back half of 2023, but he's definitely better than he was last year in the first game, right? So you're going to see him break out with some 80s, I believe, this season. At the end of the year, you're probably going to look up and he's going to have a PFF grade in the top 10. I would not be surprised at all. And that's all we want. He don't have to be the best quarterback in the league. When you got a solid defense, you got a good running game, you got a smart head coach, man, just go out there and make the plays that are on the field. Don't try to do too much to protect the football. So I know we got a bunch of people in here watching. Thank y'all so much for making us a part of you. Even if you would hit that like button, hit subscribe, and make sure you click that bell icon so you're notified when we go live. Thank y'all so much for making us a part of your Victory Monday. Next, Jacob, this gets me excited. Dontavion Wicks, 74.8. Now, hopefully I don't lose our place here and this works. All right. So remember, we were so excited his rookie year, 516 snaps, 77.8. Last year took a step back to 65.1, 22 snaps in the first game of the season, 74.8. Is Wicks returning back? It was at the sophomore slump last year, and now we're going to see the real Dontavion Wicks. That's the question, man.
Yeah, it's again whether or not these guys all kind of take another step, raise their ceiling. Like you said, the sophomore slump, I always kind of rolled my eyes at that, but it seems like it's an actual thing. It just happens too often for it not to be some sort of correlation there. I like what Bates says. Wicks just stopping, waiting, and watching that TD to Reed was gold. He knew right away when he kind of faked the pick play or whatever. It was so he just stopped and looked and was like, it was really, really great. But yeah, man, it's nice to see him have some confidence back. They went to him a couple different was it third? I think he had a couple 3rd down catches.
Yeah.
And it, like you said, man, it's just Jen saying Wicks cooked. I agree. Like, if he can take a step again, like I was so surprised. We can see it right here with how well that the wide receivers did between Wicks, Dobbs, and Reed, all scoring in the 70s PFF wise. I mean, that was our in my opinion, probably our biggest Achilles heel last year was the drops, the kind of inconsistency that we had at that position, which obviously prompted Matt LaFleur to go and take 2 wide receivers very high in the draft. And I think the guys kind of got the message. You know what I mean? It was probably a little bit of a, hey, we're going to play the best player. And if you guys aren't playing up to our Green Bay Packer football level, then we're going to look somewhere else. I was honestly surprised that Golden did get more touches last night. But when you look at the grades of the other guys, you kind of understand why.
Yeah. Romeo Doubs, man, 34 snaps, 74.8, had him a hell of a game. I don't know if he'll be a Packer next year, but Romeo has an opportunity to make himself a lot of money this season, man. He really does. Yep. And I love the dude to death. I think he's an awesome human being. I love that I relate to him and how he's kind of standoffish with people. Man, I have trust issues bad. And you could tell he had a rough upbringing, man. He was raised in a rough part of Los Angeles, if I understood correctly. So that's why he's a little bit like, hey, standoffish. Man, he turns into a different animal on that field. And that catch he made, it made chalk talk. What a great grab that was down the middle of the field, man. Mm-hmm. So Romeo Doubs, 74.8. I think he's your X. There's no doubt about it. Dontavion Wicks is kind of your utility guy. You can put him at X. You can put him at slot. You can put him at Z. He's not going to take the top off of defense. But boy, oh boy, does he got some wiggle. Excited about those two. Probably even more excited, though, about the offensive line play, Jacob. Jordan Morgan, 20 snaps. It says right guard. I thought he played some left guard. I could be wrong there. But right guard, 73.5 with a run block grade of 71.3, pass block grade of 67.3. And then Sean Ryan, they've got him at right guard, which I think he played multiple positions as well. 33 snaps, 73.3, a pass block grade of 84.2. The fact that we took a weakness from that Philadelphia Eagles playoff loss, Jacob, and you turned it into its strength. And we talked about it all camp, and people were still worried about the offensive line. I'm telling you, man, Jordan Love had all damn day to stand back there and throw the football.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. And like you said, man, what a pleasant surprise to see Morgan up there, to see Ryan up there. Even you can look at Jenkins, not a great day, but nothing terrible. Pass blocking, obviously, we wish it was improved a little bit, but I can't tell you how excited I am. I did see that Jen said that she thought it was left tackle as well, or I'm sorry, left guard as well for Jordan Morgan. But, I was kind of scratching my head as to why are they going to try any sort of rotation, blah, blah, blah. But it seems like it worked for him. I mean, there wasn't, we couldn't get much going in the running game early, and that was a little frustrating. That was probably the only thing that I was kind of critical of for the first half for sure. But even that seemed to kind of wane as the game went on. The guys seemed to have a little more push, but man, it was, even though it wasn't like a dominating performance, you could definitely tell that the point of emphasis from last year of just improving in the trenches, that they made a massive improvement there. And, I'm not sure if we can go toe to toe with guys like Philly or something like that, but the fact that we were able to push around Detroit on both sides of the ball is definitely a good indication that we're moving in the right spot.
Definitely. Jaden Reed picking right up where he left off last year. Only 18 snaps, but a 71.2 PFF grade. Jacob, we look at it. I don't know why he continues to get hate by a certain portion of the fan base, but a 73.3 his rookie year, 71.7 last year, 71.2 this year. The dude is as steady as they come at wide receiver. Again, I think, had another touchdown, and that was a beautiful throw and catch. He looks so smooth. For people who think that Jaden Reed has a drop issue, I don't worry when they throw him the ball. I don't. I'm like, he's going to catch the freaking football. And he's built like a mini tank. To me, it looks like he put on 7 to 10 pounds of muscle in the offseason. So, and the foot, again, the 18 snaps, I think it has more to do with the foot than them wanting to work him into the offense more. I love the fact that you jump out to an early lead and you can probably pull him out of the game a little bit more, let that foot continue to rest up. And that's probably why you see Dontavion Wicks getting some more snaps like that. So, Chris Brooks, only 9 snaps, 66.8. They used a double running backfield, kind of an offset look. Reminded me of the old Mike Holmgren days. I know they wasn't in a true pro set or anything like that, but they had Chris Brooks playing wing, and he was doing a lot of zipper and yo-yo motion as well. Elton Jenkins at center, a 65.4. His pass block grade was horrible at 35.1. Not sure why. Run block grade of 70.9. Tucker Kraft, 63.9. He had a pass block grade of 72.9, a pass grade of 68.2, which is essentially the passing game grade. Run block grade was only a 58.2. But Tucker Kraft, man, I've got the soundbite. I could probably put up here to play for you guys. They got it beeped out. We'll just tell you what he said. So Brian Branch, right? Brian Branch, remember he pulls Tucker's helmet off, throws it across the field, right? And he gets flagged for it. Like a couple plays, it might have been the next play, but shortly thereafter, Tucker Kraft catches the touchdown on him, stands up, and he said, "What you gonna do?" in a bad word, okay? And then he said, "What you gonna do?" again to him. So, yeah, he called him a cat, as Jake called. So he said, "What you gonna do? What you gonna do?" So, Tucker Kraft, man, the fact that he's a captain too fires me up, man. Jordan Love, Tucker Kraft, and Xavier McKinney, I believe, are your three solid captains there. So, what do you think about Tucker, man? Do you feel like he did enough yesterday? Again, 63.9 is not a bad grade, but it just seems like PFF doesn't want to acknowledge that Tucker Kraft's a dog. Because that catch made chalk talk where Jordan throws it nose down, over the underneath, under the over the top. And Tucker Kraft, man, got as good a hands as anybody on this team.
I mean, like Jen Wright says, PFF hates Kraft. Whatever. He just can't seem to buy a decent grade. But when you watch the tape, I don't know what else they want him to do, man. Like you said, he is an absolute beast on all aspects of the game, whether it be in the run game, the pass blocking, obviously his pass catching. Like you said, that touchdown was absolutely beautiful. The way that Love threw it while the defender's back was turned, Kraft hadn't even turned his head. He wasn't throwing it to Kraft. He was basically throwing it to a spot. And if Kraft was going to get there, he was going to be the only one that was able to catch that ball, nobody else. And the fact that he just threw that laser, and Kraft, again, extended hands, reach catch, diving basically. He doesn't get enough attention for how soft and good a hands as he has. And then you add in the fact that he's an absolute just dog. I mean, he gets everybody jacked up. He doesn't take any crap. He stands up for his teammates. And he was smart enough to, after when it wasn't Kirby Joseph, it was Branch that ripped his helmet off, he just stood there and looked at the ref and said, "You serious?" Like,
right.
Whereas I think maybe Tucker Kraft of old may have went in there and started throwing some haymakers or something, but he understood the assignment, understood that all he has to do is keep cool, and that gives us a 15, automatic first down. And I couldn't be more excited. I will say this, dude, and with all the amazing players we have, you guys know how much I love Brenton Cox Jr., Coop, X, Jacobs, all these guys. Tucker Kraft might be my favorite Packer of all time. Like, I really am that much in love with the dude.
Yeah, with the jailhouse tattoos and everything. He's awesome.
Yeah.
Love that guy. It's someone that if he didn't make it to pro football, I could have seen him in my dad's biker club, man. You know what I mean? Like he'd be at the house on a Saturday night, get the tattoo gun going. For those who don't know, my dad did tattoos for about 20 years right out of our dining room. He was real popular back home in Kentucky doing tats. Really, really talented in that regard. So I could see a young Tucker Kraft sitting in there if he didn't make it in football, just getting tatted up on a Saturday night. Jen Wright says Kraft catches all Love's rocket balls. Man, it's just like it sticks to his gloves.
Yeah.
Like he's got strong hands, man. His hands are way, way, way underrated for sure. All right, moving along here. Zach Tom, 63.7, obviously left the game after that Aiden Hutchinson cheap shot, only played 30 snaps. He graded out a 63.7. However, pass block grade against Hutchinson, Jacob, 72.0. Shut him down, man. Rasheed Walker, 63.0 PFF grade. Matthew Golden got 23 snaps, 61.8. Not bad. We talk about it, right? As a rookie, you want to grade out in the 60s. And again, man, I've got a shot here I want to show you guys. Let me drop this down real quick, and we'll come right back to the PFF grades. This picture goes so hard, bro. It was over on Packers.com. Look at that shot right there. That's a rookie.
That's
and
awesome.
Again, thicker than a bowl of oatmeal. The dude's got, I'm telling you, man, he's got meat on the bone, just kind of like Jaden Reed. They're kind of built similar in that regard. He's going to be a lot of fun to watch this year, man. I know people will see he only had, one or two catches, and the PFF grades were somewhat, low, if you will. I'm telling you, man, what I seen yesterday from Matthew Golden, I'm excited. But what do you think? How did you feel about Matthew Golden's first game in the NFL?
I would have thought that he would have graded higher than 61 or whatever it was. I would thought he'd maybe be in the low 70s, just because every time I watch him run a route, they look crisp, they look clean. I'm not an expert or PFF analyst or anything like that, but the few times that I watched him get the ball, he caught it in stride, moved upfield, made a couple plays. What more can you ask? And yeah, I mean, this is posterizing Mr. Terry and Arnold right there. and couldn't ask for more, honestly, from a guy like that. I'm excited to see what he does next week. If he really maybe they unlock him a little more, give him more opportunities. But man, what a good start to his career.
Yeah. And as someone says in the chat there, Jen Wright says his run blocking needs work. Absolutely. 50.8. But again, it's not what he's known for. But you guys know, man, in this Matt LaFleur offense, dude, you got to be willing to block. I think as it was once said.
No block, no rock.
That's right. And he'll learn that, Jacob. He'll learn that real quick. So John Fitzpatrick, 61.6. Savion Williams, only 3 snaps. However, you think he might be our return guy this year, Jacob?
I hope so.
Yeah, I hope he looked good, didn't he?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Looks
Anthony
like he has
Bell,
a little bit of a spark too. Like he just,
Yeah. And again, when you look at the kickoff team too, right? Let's think about him on kickoff return. Do you need more of a running back build than a wide receiver or a real speed guy? Because it's more of a running play now with the change in the rules. I could see Savion being really good at that because he's good at making contact, running through arm tackles, things like that at TCU. He's kind of a tough runner in that regard. So maybe he would be the fit there. Josh Jacobs, a 59.2. Obviously, it was a rough day at the office for Jacobs. I love that they kept going to him, made the Lions constantly think about the run, even though it wasn't that effective. He did make Chalk Talk have one explosive run, which I think led to either a touchdown or a field goal. He had a run of 15 yards, which was a really nice run outside as well. Darian Kennard, only 15 snaps, but a 57.2. Emmanuel Wilson, only 2 snaps. We'll throw it out. Malik Heath, 11 snaps. Luke Musgrave, 17 snaps. Aaron Banks had a rough day. 43 snaps, according to PFF, had a 44.0, a 63.1 pass block grade, and a run block grade of 40.5. So there are your offensive PFF grades. Yeah, a lot of fun, though. A lot of fun watching that team kind of come together. Let's take a quick look at the special teams grades from yesterday and give a special shout out to Chris Brooks, 17 special team snaps, 90 PFF grade. Nick Neiman, however you say the name, he was the late acquisition there, right? Special teams, 16 snaps, 83.5. Kingsley Enagbare had a rough day on defense, it looked like, right, Jacob? 13 snaps on special teams, 78.9. Xavier McKinney, 67.1. I love that X is out there playing 10 special team snaps.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Dude's just such an unselfish player. Katano Ladapo, 64.2. Matt Orzik, 64.2. Tyron Hopper, there you go. He had 16 snaps on special teams. So Hopper was kind of a special teams guy yesterday. So, again, let's see if anybody hurt themselves for the future here. Javon Bullard, man. Bullard got a 30 on 12 snaps. Evan Williams, but again, he shined on defense, so you kind of give him a little more grace. Bullard had a rough day, but let's see if he bounced back next week. That's what it sounds like. So.
Just so you know, the Bears went down the field, 10 plays, 61 yards, and they just Caleb scrambled in. He looked pretty sharp.
It's a beautiful thing about when you get 2 NFC North teams playing, Jacob. That doesn't mean that the Bears are good or Caleb's good. That means the Vikings suck, right? So
I am going to watch. I mean, I'm going to love watching this game no matter what happens because either way I get to make fun of an NFC North opponent.
Get ready to go.
What we're going to do right now. Guys, thank y'all so much for tuning in. We really appreciate you. We're going to get out of here. Those are your PFF grades. Tomorrow we'll be doing Chalk Talk. We'll probably have a little bit of a 20-minute segment on the front side, and then we'll jump into Chalk Talk. Jacob, you got anything else you want to hit on before we wrap up, man?
I just got a couple fun facts real quick, and then we'll get out of here. So when Micah Parsons was off the field, Jared Goff's statistics were 18 of 20, 134 yards, a touchdown, a 70 passer grade from PFF. He had 3.1 seconds to throw. When Micah Parsons was on the field, he was 13 of 19 for 91 yards, an interception, took 3 sacks, had a 28.9 passing grade, and only had 2.7 seconds to throw. You can't tell me that guy didn't make an absolute hell of a difference there. One more fun fact, Penei Sewell, he graded in the 70.5, I believe, PFF grade. Every single other offensive lineman had a grade below 60. So we absolutely took care of the quote-unquote wall that they have at the offensive and defensive line. We controlled the trenches, and that's exactly what our goal was to do coming in from this offseason. So I couldn't be more excited about that victory.
Yeah, Micah Parsons is a dog, dude. Like
him
running down that sack at the end and watching the sideline. We end the we end the Chalk Talk with that. And listen, I got an audio. I'm going to play. You guys go check the video out on Twitter. This guy's Stick Radio. That's a big Lions fan. He spends more time talking about the Packers, right, than anything. I've got this audio I put together. It's a video. Go check it out, like I said, on X. But I'm going to play the audio version here. And the reason I'm going to do that is because if he uploaded this to YouTube, then we could get dinged through AI, right? However, he put the video together talking trash about the Packers, and I just did a little edit here, Jacob. You'll be able to see it on our screen, but the viewers won't. But let's just take a second to enjoy this right here, if you will.
Because it's week 1 against the Packers, who their whole damn team is injured.
Rushing 4. Goff taken down.
Starting wide receivers injured, guard injured, cornerback injured, Jordan Love injured.
Pass intercepted.
Dan Campbell wants retribution.
Goff at the goal line. Goff, did he get out? It's Gary, Rashawn Gary.
This is a reckoning this year. Just like Wyatt Earp and Tombstone got me fired up today.
Dan Campbell crying.
Once again, what to ask today. The Packers don't stand a chance.
It's impressive.
Back to Jacobs. Back to extending the record. Now 9 consecutive games with a touchdown.
Jordan Love not going to be able to get it done.
But he does this time. Love from the pocket to the end zone. And Kraft has it for a Green Bay touchdown.
Jordan Love not going to be able to get it done.
Here's Love heaving it down the field. He's got his man. He's got Dobbs.
Jordan Love not going to be able to get it done.
Here he is throwing to the end zone. He's got a touchdown pass to Jaden Reed.
Look at me. Look at me.
4th and 2. They throw him down. That's Wyatt.
I'm sorry. Your team sucks now.
His Goff's being chased by Parsons. Look out. He's got him.
We got to end it right there because of the copyright, obviously. So, yeah, again, go give him a look-see over there at Stick Radio. He posted that video thinking he was doing something special, and boy, oh boy, he's getting raked over the damn coals. This video I put together now is like over 100,000 views too. So we've posted it about 3 different times. So Jen Wright said Twitter letting dude have it. Even other Detroit fans, they should, right, Jen? Like if we had, we've got a couple of those in our fan base. To be honest with you, we just ignore them on this particular program. But yeah, it was pretty embarrassing. So anyway, that's it. Jacob, thank you for your time, buddy. Appreciate you.
Of course.
All right, man. And special shout out. Thank y'all for the super chat. Joyce Martha, R.R. Smith, William Herman, and Mike Hebring. Thank y'all so much for the kind donation. We'll see y'all tomorrow, 6:30 p.m. Central for PTA Live, where we'll do Chalk Talk, breaking down the top plays from the Packers Detroit Week 1 thumping, ass whooping, whatever you want to call it. And then, guys, quick turnaround, Jacob. Wednesday, we're talking Commanders. We got a pregame show and a postgame show on Thursday night. So
let's go.
Everybody have a great night. As always, let's go out and be the change we want to see in the world and go Packers.
Here we go.
We're out. Bye, guys.